Every day, vehicles and pedestrians coexist. For the most part, it's usually a very safe existence until one or the other steps out of line. When this occurs, unfortunately, the pedestrian is always the loser, since an average car weighs in at around 6,000 pounds. Walking while talking, texting, or listening to music, pedestrians today are more unaware than ever. They take their safety for granted. They assume that drivers will see them and watch out. This is not true.
I was on my way to my car after work, and I was texting my friend when I guess I started to cross the road. I wasn't at a crosswalk. When out of nowhere, this guy came flying down the street and hit me. I wasn't hurt, but he knocked me over, and then he started yelling to me about paying attention. I mean, the guy could have killed me, and he's mad at me. But I guess it was my fault though, because I didn't cross at a crosswalk.
People driving vehicles are quite often just as distracted as the pedestrians. Drivers are talking, texting, listening to music, or engaged in other activities while behind the wheel. They are assuming that pedestrians see them and are behaving responsibly. This obviously creates problems.
I was driving home after a long day, taking the same route I always take. I try not to talk on the cell phone, and actually in my old car I have a wireless, but not in this one. I guess I was just tired and wanting to relax and go home when I realized I hadn't picked something up for dinner, so I decided to call my husband. I must have looked down at my purse too long, because when I looked up there was this kid right in front of me crossing the street. It's a miracle I didn't hit him. I could have seriously injured him.
In many areas, safety measures for pedestrians are already in place. Crosswalks, signage, and sidewalks. Most of us learn how to read and use these and how to safely cross streets at an early age from our parents or from teachers at school. Today, many crosswalks have additional digital signage called pedestrian head signals, or PED heads. These signals display a solid hand to indicate when a person should not cross. A figure appears when it is safe to cross, sometimes with a countdown, and then a flashing hand comes up to indicate when one should wait, especially when crossing multiple lanes. Everyone, though, even with PED heads, should always look both ways and look again before crossing a street, especially a busy one. Drivers learn the rules of the road in driver education classes. We're all taught to stop at crosswalks behind the line, giving pedestrians space to cross. We're also taught that pedestrians have the right-of-way when in a crosswalk, whether or not there is signage. Looking out for people on foot is considered a must for any driver, especially around schools or in any area where there are large numbers of people on foot. There will always be areas in all cities and towns where pedestrians' needs have not yet been addressed. These are the hardest places for them to cross streets safely. However, improvements are being made every day. "65% of all pedestrian fatalities occur between sunset and sunrise. These incidents are usually due to the pedestrian wearing dark instead of light reflective clothing, not carrying a flashlight, not walking facing traffic, or not using an available sidewalk. When pedestrians do not utilize common sense measures at night, it's tough for drivers to look out for them."
About 2007, October or so,
The Marine Ball was taking place here at the Convention Center, at the Greenville Convention Center. After a certain amount of time at being at the Convention Center at the Marine Ball, some of the Marines had stepped over to the Hooters right across Greenville Boulevard and had spent a little bit of time over there. Upon leaving Hooters, the Marines, instead of walking alongside Greenville Boulevard and using the pedestrian crosswalks that we have here at the intersection, traffic controlled pedestrian crosswalks, they instead chose to take the shorter route, which would be directly across Greenville Boulevard. There was 3 of them. 2 of them, of course, made it safely across the roadway. The young lady that was behind them wasn't so lucky, and she was struck in the last straight lane here. There's a turn lane here next to me, but she was almost made it across. Was struck in the last lane, probably 2:30 in the morning, so it was dark. The young lady had on a dress, but it was black, and ultimately, due to her injuries, died from the collision.
We have all seen pedestrians trying to cross multi-lane streets where there are neither crosswalks or closed stoplights during the day or night. This type of situation really requires everyone to pay close attention. No matter what the area is like, drivers must always pay attention to people on foot. And pedestrians, watch cars as if your life depended on it.